All right, welcome everybody to the Combat Lab episode 4. It's been about 3 weeks since we have last seen each other. Sorry for the little camera camera mess up there. It's been a few weeks since we've seen each other, but we're super excited to be back. I'm going to be your host, as always, Shakes. And with me, my two great co-hosts, we have Wonderbot and Arakai.
And Erikai, who is still muted, he's figuring this
There
out.
was my
back.
thing restarted. It literally restarted.
Discord
Right as
updates. Woo!
Incredible.
don't
Welcome
know
everybody
what that
to
was.
the Combat Lab episode 4. We are here and we've got a lot to talk about today, don't we? It's been both a quiet few weeks, but also just a couple of really big days in those past few weeks, right? I mean, we have a good amount of content to go over, even though I can vouch more than anyone that I burnt out playing all that circuit, the entire Challenger circuit, 6 weeks long. But we had 14 or 15 tournaments in those 6 weeks, and we had low tier cities, SmashCon. Sometimes we had upwards, if you count the locals that I went to, we had upwards of I had 5 tournaments a week at one point. It's been a lot.
Dude, a lot of us were on the grind. That whole circuit, there were some people who made almost every event, right?
Oh my god. Mr. Mime, Olsey, they get the participation award.
Fiends.
They're being Cicero, I believe, entered a lot too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Marie entered, I guess, the most of them in the beginning. I think the last 3 or 4 he didn't make, but he made a lot of them. It was a lot going on, but now we get to talk about the fruits of all of that effort. We get to finally recap the entire Challenger circuit. I guess the major recap we can be doing. Hyperflame 1. Hyperflame 1 SmashCon.
Who would have guessed it?
That's the big finale. Hyperflame is now 3-0 in tournament. He's entered 3 tournaments and he's won all of them. Both of the
Utterly dominating.
majors. Dominant. Well, no, he dropped 1 set.
Yeah, that is true.
So that's the 1 set in every, or no, I guess he dropped 2 sets. He dropped a set at Wave Dash Wednesday, I think, as well. Hyperflame dropped 2 sets in all 3 tournaments that he was in, and both of them were to Olsey. He's right. We're gonna get into that. We have the new PR to talk about, but that's the big one. Otherwise, though, we've got a couple of since we last went live. We talked about a bunch of tournaments last time. We've had a couple players really kind of show up, make a name out there. Even just in these past, this past 3 weeks or whatever since we last did the Combat Lab.
For sure.
Big notables, just to throw them out there. Frog, Light the Lantern. We've had
Who play Kid and Zurong, respectively. Probably should note the names of
Frog's
players.
the Kid player. Light the Lantern, Zurong. Nuggy Jones had a run. We've had LDZ has shown up and taken some good wins.
With
We've
his
had
rumor.
a lot of just players that I guess no one expected to have runs, starting to have runs. Frog and Light the Lantern specifically are actually continuing to do a lot of. I believe one of them, I shouldn't say anything without being certain, but I feel like one of them just beat Tandoori yesterday at the Wonder Games 10. So
I believe so.
You want to double check that really quick?
yeah, I'm checking that right now because I know someone. Yeah, Frog beat Tandoori just yesterday at the Wonder Games 10 in losers.
And it's worth noting this frog is the frog with 1 G, not 2 Gs.
And then was that tournament on the current patch?
Yes, yesterday's tournament was on the current patch. And I think we should ultimately nothing too crazy outside of those players happened before the new patch, right? Before SmashCon really.
Right.
SmashCon's the big one to talk about because J-Fist, Mr. Mime, and Olsey, as usual, performed, right? I got 4th and 5th, as usual, leading up to SmashCon. Not too many crazy things happened outside of those players really starting to make a name for themselves. But Shakes, you actually went to SmashCon. How was that?
I did. I went to the 2 major lands for icons already, LTC and
Ooh,
SmashCon.
boy.
So hopefully keeping up that record at the next tournament. But SmashCon was a great experience. My biggest complaint was I was not able to play as much icons as I wanted to, and that's because everybody was playing at every setup at the tournament, which is like a beautiful thing to see. But man, like sometimes I just want to get some games in, and it was super tough to do that. But we had it was really cool. There was
both a good thing and a bad thing.
yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
it's a great problem to have, right? Like, oh no, too many people are playing the game that we love. Bummer.
Yeah, exactly.
But they had a great setup. There was 2 different setups. Kind of one was meant more for people to come in and check the game out, which they had really cool TV setups, so you could actually stand behind and watch the matches as they were going on, which is like a really, really nice touch. And then there was another section where the actual tournament was held, going up into top 6, which was eventually streamed up front. One thing definitely worth noting, Icons tournaments run really quickly and really smoothly.
Really.
Like that, it was like butter. There was no problems. Granted, it wasn't the biggest bracket in the world. I think we were at like we had a 64
It was
cap,
64.
64, yeah.
which is still
Which is
sizable.
still big though. That's a big entry.
There were-
It's a-
I know for a fact there were more people who wanted to enter, but it was capped out because that was the slot they were given.
Yeah, exactly.
The at Low Tier City, we actually had the same problem.
Yeah.
We had to fill this. We had to. I mean, Shakes, you remember because I believe you commentated some of it, or at least you tried to. I don't remember. But
I did. Yep.
we had to get like Strong Bad and Ulci up there playing exhibitions because like the bracket ran so quickly that we were done with. We had more stream time, but we were already like done with our games. Icons runs pretty fast.
Yeah, so that was really awesome to see. Like it was kind of over before I knew it, like especially since my run wasn't exactly the longest ever, but we don't have to talk about that. Yeah, honestly, it was a blast. The venue was really
you know
awesome.
how much time was left over for Icons' block at SmashCon?
I actually don't
approximately?
remember off the top of my head, only because times got shifted around a little bit. The stream tended to be pretty behind overall, so we kind of our tournament lining up with when we were actually supposed to go on stream kind of ended up being a little different than originally planned, I think.
That's right. I remember there was a delay.
Yeah, there was a delay. There was
It was like
But
every
there
day
was a lot
too.
of things going on.
That
Yeah, there
means
was a
that
lot of
they
things going
caught
on.
up to being on schedule thanks to Icons, right?
It works out.
That's how that works.
I thought Icons. If I remember top 6, the stream, I want to say at top 6 ended like just in time to get back on schedule. Speaking of top 6, though, that top 6 was hype.
It really was.
There were some really okay, Esam versus Coney.
That was lit.
That was so good. Oh my god, what an
Dude,
amazing set. Coney's run in general.
I want to
Coney,
rewatch it right now.
I'm so happy that Coney finally entered a tournament because we've all known, right?
Yeah.
We know Coney's great, but he's got his hands in commentary and playing, so he has to
Right?
make a decision sometimes.
And speaking
But
of
you know what?
commentary too, real quick, D1 and TK Breezy did a fantastic job commentating. I'm super
both
happy
did
they
a
were able to get the opportunity. I know both love the game and play it a lot, so big props to them for coming out and commentating for us. It was awesome.
We also had, I think, Sam Wisely, and if I'm not mistaken, Strong Bad were on commentary for some of that.
Wisely was not at SmashCon. He commentated a good
Yeah.
chunk at LTC, including
Okay.
top
At
16.
LTC,
LTC.
he commentated a lot. He did top 16 LTC, I believe.
Yeah, and I think another cool segment.
But Icon's top 6 was a really, really good showing at SmashCon. It was super. I mean, Coney's run, every game that Coney played was exciting. But Ulci versus Hyperflame in winners that was also their winners set was an amazing set as well.
That was the match that lit the flame.
That was all over the place.
There was so many good sets. And Valdashir had a great run as well. Good for him.
He did.
He complains about lag all the time online, and then he goes to a LAN event and he does really well, huh?
Dude,
that
relatable.
Sure, right? Hey, relatable. We've all been there. And then I remember watching and just trash talking Coney's lack of dare loops in
What?
Discord. We were in my
Oh,
Discord and we were all
no.
like, Coney's not even doing like good combos, but it keeps working.
He's
That's
too
what was
honest,
so
dude.
cool,
he's
though.
he's
That
just
was
so
also cool.
fundamentally.
It was
Good
all
as a
just
mistake.
DI mix-ups, good reads, and like just a solid. Oh my god, playing well from advantage, playing really well from advantage. That's what made Coney so exciting to watch. Was that like he would up throw or he wouldn't up throw, but when he did, you didn't even know what was going to happen because you knew it was not going to be the dare loop.
Right.
It was a really exciting run to watch.
It was great to see MDVA do really well to having the event in Virginia because, I mean, MDVA is the best region right now in Icons.
By a lot.
You can't argue.
By a lot. It's not even close, actually.
it was actually really awesome to see at this point in the game's life to have that tournament in Virginia was really, really cool. I'm sure for those players it was awesome to be at home. So
absolutely. Unless we had more things to talk about I guess before we get into the PR.
Did we mention that Hyperflame won from losers 6-0?
Yes.
Is that correct?
He did win from losers.
That's impressive.
Oh, it was a 6-0.
You come back with a vengeance, dude.
That's
Hyperflame is he's just one of those guys. He's just one of those guys.
I actually played him in bracket at SmashCon and didn't go great for me. But I will say I almost took a game off him, so I was like, all right, I'm happy with myself. That was the bar I wanted, so we got down to last stock.
Before I forget, do you remember how I said Hyperflame only lost to Olsey during his tournament runs? That's a lie.
That.
Hyperflame definitely dropped a game to Teals in pools at Low Tier City 6. Never forget. Teals is a hero.
Wow.
So, but I guess unless we have more to talk about for SmashCon, before we get into the grand reveal of the new ranking, but before we get into that, we should probably talk about, let's talk about the little guys. There have been two tournaments since SmashCon that have not been that are not being counted towards any ranking. The tournament right after SmashCon was like an unwind tournament. Yep. And then the tournament yesterday, it's not counting because it was on a brand new patch and everyone was kind of like, oh, a lot changed. So real quick, shout outs to Wampy and shout outs to Boyko.
Boyko's
two players. Wampy winning the Wonder Games 9, Boyko won the Wonder Games 10. Both of them, welcome back, Wampy, and Boyko finally entered a tournament. We're here, right?
Welcome back from the UK.
It's so perfect that this happened because it doesn't count towards the PR, but it's a statement that everyone knows they're back. Like they're here.
It stirs the pot a little bit.
It's like a hey, season's over. We're into this new season. The preseason says that Wampy's really freaking good and that Boyko is really good. Boyko beat Tandoori. I think Boyko only dropped one game.
What character is Boyko playing? I think we all know that. We all know that Wampy plays Raymer, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Wampy is Raymer, and Boyko is playing Zurong.
Yeah.
Boyko dropped a single game in the entire tournament to me in Grand Finals, but he beat the big win he got was Tandoori. He beat Tandoori, and then he took a game from Liberation before Liberation unfortunately had to DQ because of connection issues. So how much you can read into that, but and then he beat, Light the Lantern, which is a big win. Light the Lantern's like
pretty good.
Progressively getting real. No, he's getting better. He beat Light the Lantern beat Hylian yesterday, I believe.
Yeah. He's playing really well.
So does that mean that Boyko was in winners the whole time for that tournament?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boyko only dropped. Boyko won through winners. And then it was. Oh, go ahead.
I really want to see Liberation versus Boyko. First to 5 even. Like, let me get all that set in its recorded glory. I feel like that'd be some of the best neutral and icons we've seen. I love watching Boyko play. I absolutely love it. Be real.
I love Liberation is maybe he's like a top 3, one of my favorite players in icons. I want to point that out.
Me too, right?
Boyko takes it if they play in a first to 5.
Oh, I agree.
I believe that 100%. Boyko, and this I'm going to go even further. I'm going to say that Boyko is actually a top 2 icons player who needs to play.
I'm going to go even further and make Boyko my pick for the #1 player in icons. And that's a gut feeling. That's a gut feeling, but there's something about the way he plays that doesn't make me believe I'm making my own decisions anymore.
Good.
It's mind-boggling.
Staggering.
I could talk about it all day. I love playing
against him. He played Wei
against
Shan against me for about 25 minutes.
How'd that go?
He was
we were like, is Wei Shan bad now? And then he played Wei Shan against me, and
And this was
No, he's not
post-patch?
bad. Wei Sean's not bad, guys. like,
Was it pre or post-patch?
Boyko's cloud bar
this
right
was
now
yesterday. This was post-patch.
must be going through the roof.
Yeah, Boyko's
So
nasty.
shout outs to him for being maybe the player we're not going to talk about at all for the rest of the episode, despite being like insane.
Yeah, he better be a
Yeah,
Genesis.
just a reminder,
He
there are
better
some
be a
people out
Genesis. Oh
there
my god.
who, attendance or otherwise, not on the PR, but they are very good.
There's a lot of players
Yeah.
who attendance or otherwise like. There's a lot of and honestly, should we just go ahead and show off the PR and we can talk
Sure,
about
let's
that
do
whole
it.
thing?
Let's bring it out.
All right, everyone. I hope you're excited for our super professional, incredible, amazing, wonderful reveal of
The
the
graphic.
PR.
Here we go. So definitely not a
Liberation.
spreadsheet.
Liberation
The graphic is still
working
coming.
on the graphic. Liberation is busy with real life stuff, so unfortunately we don't
But-
have a graphic this time.
But you know what? That's okay because you can see that we use math when we do the panel.
yes,
It
big
is
man.
evident.
The first thing we should talk about with this new PR, you'll notice it has 15 players and 2 honorable mentions. And that was something we made pretty early on. That was a decision we made pretty early on with this
Yep.
PR because there's a lot of good Icons players. And I mean, other than like and I don't think anyone will disagree with me if I say the top 6 of this PR is like kind of a level above everyone else except for Boyko, who's omitted. I think it's pretty fair to say that. So that said, numbers 7 through 15 and the 2 honorable mentions are all a lot closer in terms of like results and in terms of like head to head. There's a lot more discussion to be had there, and you'll notice that like half of this list is all new to the PR. So
Yep.
when we have inconsistent entries, players who entered just the majors but not any online presence, players who had really strong online presence but didn't enter the majors. We had a lot of players who just like had no data against other
Yeah,
players.
that's true.
So like, you know, like ESAM, Coney, Hyperflame. Notably, their data is hard to find because their head-to-heads are only against players, with the small exception of Hyperflame. Their head-to-head is mostly with players online or who went to these major tournaments. And so we decided to extend it to 15 to give a better idea of who's good, who's notable in Icons right now. But also because this is cross-country, like this is the
The whole country.
This is it. This is everyone. This is not your local PR. This is everyone. So we're doing the top 15, try and give a better idea of all of that.
Yep.
Hyperflame's at number 1. Surprising nobody.
I think that we pretty much all agreed on that unanimously. He
Yeah.
was dominating. It was an easy decision.
Easy to say. And I don't think we even need to talk about it. Hyperflame only had he lost 2, he literally lost 1 set or 2 sets and 1 game outside of those 2 sets throughout 3 tournaments. Hyperflame was an easy pick. Following that, Jfist, Mime, Ulci was a very tricky discussion to have. They're all
That's right.
really, really good. And Jfist ended up being number 2 because Jfist has just stronger records. I mean, it's one of those things where you look at the numbers, Jfist is really, really dominant over the last last month or so of the community circuit. He stopped losing, basically.
Right.
Except for when he would not show up and then get DQ'd out of the tournament, which has happened twice now.
Or you get
Well-
DQ'd into losers and make that fun for that side.
Right.
Well,
But we know that.
Mime, obviously, the menace of online tournaments. I don't think anyone has more online wins or tournament wins than he does.
Right.
Ulci, naturally, and I mean, Ulci's the only player to have taken a set from Hyperflame. Ulci's a powerhouse, and honestly, the big thing for Ulci was that Ulci he struggled against Mime specifically for a long time.
yeah.
And the last few tournaments, Ulci looked like he was really finding his ground, but Ulci just had a little bit more losses outside the top 6, and then kind of skewed records because the beginning of the season, he struggled against a couple of different players. Liberation, super consistent actually. Whenever he entered, he just didn't end up entering as much as it was just kind of an attendance thing with Liberation. Really, really strong results whenever he did enter. Just didn't enter as much as the other players. And Magi. Every tournament Magi is in Magi has only lost to like top 6, like third place, second place, everywhere. Magi
blew me away. They like came out of nowhere, from my perspective at least, and then just kind of like were really good, and then they went from like really good to like, wow, I just got destroyed by Magi. And then not only did I just get destroyed by Magi, but they destroyed
everyone.
They destroyed everyone right after that. I was like, what?
Magi is insane.
That was wild.
Shoutouts to Magi also has been streaming a lot lately, so definitely twitch.tv/SSB Magi. We'll talk about it more at the end, but just as a heads up, Magi has also been streaming a lot of her content and runs, and she's really good, so we endorse Magi as a streamer to watch.
100%.
And now that we're done with the good players, let's get into all of the bad players.
Hold on. For those that don't know, Magi main's Kid.
Oh yeah, Magi is a Kid player. In case you're not looking at the
graphics
spreadsheet,
the PR.
Sorry,
spreadsheet.
So, hey, you know what? And real quick, because to address this real quick, we're not talking about all the stats and stuff. We know there's only so much jumping around between organizing it, between all the stats and tournaments and head-to-heads, and there's a lot of information there. Check out Handoran's link in the chat. Liberation compiled an insane amount of stats for us to base this PR on. Definitely check that out. It's all of the reasoning will be evident once you look at the stats.
Yeah. One of the things that I wanted to prioritize, and I'm sure the other panelists share the same notion, is like I wanted a transparent panel that was like transparent with the community and like democratic with each other. I didn't want any like just kind of just stuff going on.
We didn't want any kind of shadiness going on.
Yeah. So, if anybody has questions about the PR, I just want to be open to those questions, and I hope that the other panelists share the same sentiment.
Yep. And then if you look at, and in that, it is worth noting, the way we did the PR is everyone made their own list, and then we averaged it out, and any ties we discussed, tried changes, and then Wampy was there for tiebreakers. Panelists are me, Hylian, Erikai, and Liberation. So, and then all of our votes and the averages are also present in that link that Handoran has posted so kindly in chat. So that's how we came to all these conclusions, just so y'all are aware. Into the bad players. Erikai, how did you stay? How are you? You went up. You were one of 2 players who actually went up from last season. How are you number 7?
Morphogenetic field theory.
It's insane. And everyone like Erikai has entered like 5 tournaments, which is a good amount, which is more than a lot of the players on this list. And Erikai's his records are insane. Erikai, you are the only player outside the top 6 to have 2 wins on top 6 players, with a win on J-Fist, which is super elusive, and a win on Olsey.
That win on J-Fist was absolutely and honestly well-earned.
Definitely well-earned. Very fair.
Okay.
Very worth it.
I feel bad because if anybody saw that set, that last stock was definitely questionable.
But in all seriousness, though, you have 2 losses to people. You have only 1 loss to someone outside of the top 15, to LDZ, and then you've lost to me, and those are that's it actually. You have such dominant records against, and you have a set on Magi as well, or Magi, which is also
that's right. It happened in the same tournament. I took Magi out of winners in an incredibly close set. It was by the skin of my teeth. I barely won. And then in losers, they destroyed me 3-0. Like it wasn't even close. I was like, what in the world?
Right.
I'm playing a totally different person. What happened?
I mean, ultimately, it was one of those things. I was the first one to kind of like look at the data and put in my vote and all of that. I was looking at Erikai. I was like, oh, he'll probably be like that 10 to 15 range. And I looked at your data and I was like, wait a second, this is all good. There's nothing bad here. So Erikai, maybe a little surprising. I mean, I was surprised to see him at that high, like literally on the cusp. But like, I mean, it's all very solid. So congratulations to you. Like,
lucky number 7, dude.
I mean, quality over quantity, right? You don't have
exactly,
to enter all the
right?
tournaments
Just like
to get that high
really
placing.
good tournaments. And then 8 through 11. I think 8 through 11 was hard, but everyone else.
I remember 8 through 11 was like a little bit of discussion, actually.
Yeah.
Personally, for me, I had to think about this the most.
Jokomo, Tandoori, Esam, Wonderbop. This was Jokomo specifically at 8 is interesting. And in fact, Jokomo and Esam. Let's talk about them real quick.
Yeah.
Jokomo and Esam have great results and pretty good data as well, but they don't have much. That's kind of it, right? Esam entered Low Tier City and SmashCon. Jokomo entered Low Tier City, a Wave Dash Wednesday, I think, and like a Wonder Games. Like Jokomo entered 3 events and Esam only entered 2.
Right.
Esam has no top 5 wins or top 6 wins. Jokomo has 1, I believe, over Olsen. I believe is the only one. Yeah, he has 1 win over Olsen. But Jokomo has his second place at Low Tier City. Jokomo had a crazy good run at Low Tier City.
Yeah, slaying all the Ramers.
Yep. It was one of those things where you look at like Tandoori, who entered 5 events this season, double 5th place at both of the majors, strong results across the board, only a couple of bad losses. And then myself, who entered like 9 events this season, didn't have a bunch of amazing results, had way more bad losses than the 3 of them, but had like an average based in more results that was also like reasonably high. It was a very interesting. It was a difficult discussion to have.
Yeah.
Ultimately, Jokomo's second place and win over Olsi.
Yeah.
That's the big one.
Right.
Jokomo has a top 6 win. Tandoori does as well, but Esam does not. So Jokomo leads that pack there. Tandoori, strong results, more questionable losses. And I believe Tandoori has a win on Jafin, is his top 6 win. So those 2 were, kind of contention. Ultimately, we gave it to Jokomo for the second place finish.
It was relatively hard compared to some of the other more obvious stuff, but it's still, I still wouldn't call it like really actually difficult if you have experience like making a lot of PRs. Like it just required an examination, and then it became kind of obvious.
I thought it was. I still think there's actually high key. I still think there's a strong argument for Tandoori at 8 over Jokomo, but that's why we did this democratic process, so that way whatever. We all have our votes, and we have to agree to disagree, and we have to at some point say, all right, well, here's how the votes averaged out.
It's also worth noting that half of the top 10 since preseason, I don't know what the first power ranking was titled. I actually don't remember off the top of my head. I think it was just season 0, right? First power ranking.
I think it was like this community ranking season 0.
Right, and since then, half of the top 10 is consisted of new players, including the number 1 spot, which is really cool to see. So
yeah. We have how many players is this? This is 7 out of the top 15 are new players.
Yeah. And I bet that will continue to change, especially as balance patches come in and shift things up, because I'm sure we're all aware events moving forward are going to be probably a little different based on some of how the changes went through.
Right.
Which we'll get to later.
Erica, if you want to talk about Esam, myself, and Hylian at 10, 11, 12, because I feel like I'm a little biased going into that discussion. But
I'll agree with what you said earlier about Esam, is that like no top 6 wins and limited data makes it very hard to place Esam. But we all know he's kind of just like a little bit up there. I personally haven't looked at your data recently.
Oh, you're good. I mean, I'll sum up. I guess I will and participate, and I'll just Esam. He's better than me. I think he's better than me. If Esam and I were to play right now in the best of 5, I think that he would win. I think I'd take at least one game, but I do think he would win. Esam was the hardest player to rank for sure because he had to the point that we almost considered making him an honorable mention because we were like, come on. Like
He's
it's
only
very
entered
difficult.
2 tournaments, right? Just the 2 majors.
Just 2 majors.
Just the 2
Okay.
majors.
And so it was very difficult to rank him. And so what we ended up doing was a lot of us just kind of like
We just
perceived
agreed he
skill,
was good.
right? We all know. Everyone who's, all 4 of the panelists know that Esam's really good. And at the end of the day, I think that it leaves a sour spot in all of our mouths to put him below me, even if, even though I have more data than him, right? He's harder to rank, but let's be real. Esam's definitely a top 10 icons player.
Yeah, definitely. If not higher, but until the data's there to back it up, that's where he's got to sit.
And then honestly, the rest of it, me, Hylian, Cicero, reasonably close in data, but like not close enough. I think that, me over Hylian over Cicero, or me over Hylian specifically, was similar data.
Yeah.
But
most of the votes had you in like the 11th spot, -1 or 2.
Yeah.
And most of the votes had Hylian in number 12. So it was close, but it wasn't like
Hylian was unanimous 12. And I was almost unanimous. I was almost unanimous 11. So certainly like Hylian and myself, I think we both had really strong data and a lot of entrants. It was just it was just one of those like a little bit better. Cicero, Volnisher, also a small, almost unanimous for Cicero and Volnisher. Both of them had, Volnisher had his 4th place run at SmashCon. And I think Volnisher beat someone really good too. I'm about to double check this. Volnisher beat Jfist. Volnisher has a win on Jfist.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
Yeah, right? Like Volnisher has that win on Jfist. Cicero but Volnisher also has losses. A lot of people, to Wes, to Zik, to Volnisher just had kind of the losses, whereas Cicero had a lot more data, right? And Cicero,
that is true. Those head-to-heads matter.
Head-to-heads matter. That's a big one. Head-to-heads matter. Volnisher is really good, and this was a very close one as well. Again, it was almost unanimous. Three out of 4 votes had Cicero at 13 over Volnisher, and 1 vote had Cicero at 14. It's close. In fact, I almost feel like I was really close. After talking about it with everyone, I decided, right? But Cicero Volnisher was on my initial ballot. I had like 3 ties in there. Cicero Volnisher was a very close call for me personally.
Right, and I believe with Volnisher there was a lot of issues in terms of entering online tournaments due to lag and performance on his PC, and I believe he got a new PC and either fixed internet or just the new PC resolved a lot of his issues. So keep an eye on moving forward at him entering more tournaments.
And then
that leaves number 15, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I think that like 4 of us voted on Cocoa Puffs, also known as Sora. We almost considered Wes, but after a little bit more discussion, I think it was pretty much decidedly Cocoa Puffs, right?
Yeah, it's definitely Cocoa Puffs. That actually, okay, so I actually had Cocoa Puffs at 15 as well. If you look at the committee votes, you'll see that I voted for Wes. I initially voted for Wes. That's actually not true. I did change it after discussion because that was another one of the 15 spot on my initial ballot was there's so many good players who could be 15. Yeah, but Sora beat Cocoa Puffs beat Ulsi at low tier 6.
Yeah.
That was it, really.
It pretty much came down to like better data.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, like if you have a top 6 win and you're against someone who does not have a top 6 win,
Yeah.
you need really good data or a lot more consistency if you're like going to get on the PR without a top 6 win. So at the end of the day, like when we compare Sora or Sokoka buffs to Wes, or I mean, there's a lot of players we could talk about here that are like, oh hey, they had like a couple of good runs here and there, like they should be at least considered. So Sokoka buffs takes that, and then the honorable mentions. Worth noting that these honorable mentions are strictly participation based. And by that I mean both of them did not enter any.
Yeah, this is like you really are pulling our you're pulling us tight by entering one thing and then like doing really well or otherwise, like okay, we know you're good, but we cannot quantifiably show that unless you enter at least 2 or 3 things. Like come on.
It's not reasonable to rank someone based off of one tournament.
Yeah.
Right? Azrid and Coney both had amazing runs at both of the tournaments that they entered, respectively. Actually, Azrid DQ'd out of the first heat. Azrid was on an amazing run and then DQ'd himself out of losers because of like real life stuff. So like they were doing, it's like one of those.
Sometimes that happens.
It happened. And I mean, Azrid and Coney, I feel very confident having them represent like the highest level of play for either of their characters.
I would agree.
Honestly, I think Azrid's right up there with you and Tandoori. If I had to rank it with everyone, like you, Tandoori, Azrid are all very, very much so like the top 3 in that. I mean,
the triple Raymer threat, dude.
Yeah, I guess Wumpy's back too, so we'll see how that goes.
Quadruple Raymer threat.
Quadruple Raymer threat. Oh boy, this will be a fun season.
And honestly, with Sora too, and the top 5 Raymers are kind of terrifying.
There's a lot of good Raymer going on out there.
Yeah, no kidding. Jeez. All right, and that's our PR.
Yes.
It was definitely a lot harder than the first.
If you would like to be on the next page, PR, my PayPal is VErky.
I'm a little mad. I'm gonna be real, guys. I'm a little mad. My goal was to get top 10 on both of the first 2 seasons, and here we are, or some guy who got entered 2 tournaments. Man, life's rough. Life comes
some
fast,
guy.
guys.
Well, come on. He's not just some guy.
He's some guy.
Okay.
Somebody.
So.
But you can get it next time.
Next time I'm coming. I'm coming, guys. Are you serious?
So while we're on the hot topic of new info being dropped, both some intentionally and some not so intentionally.
All right.
There's a little image that we're going to have to discuss and show in the chat.
I see no evil, speak no evil.
On the stream. If you have not seen this image yet.
If you don't want spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers. That's a good call.
Alert. Alert. So we have some spoilers going.
We will label this as character spoilers.
We had a leak, gentlemen.
Yeah, we had a leak, and we're about to show it now. So if you don't want to see this image, I would recommend. I would recommend.
You want to see it. Yeah. Show the image, Shakes.
Let's bring it on.
You've been warned. Here it comes.
Here's my new main right above me. Beautiful.
Oh man.
And so the story behind this image, it was found actually on Google Images. All you have to do is type in Icons Combat Arena, look a few rows down, bam, here we go. There's an image with this character, very similar to the splash screen you see in Icons when you launch it up to the main menu now. And she was up top and a little small. So this is zoomed in, enhanced. There's some outlines. Like this isn't the exact image, but it's meant to accentuate some of the identifiable features of the character.
Important part. It's the important parts.
Right.
If this isn't the Floatina design and we're getting like super bamboozled right now, then that
would be really funny.
But I think this is it. I think that this is.
Yeah. So for me specifically, I've had a bit of a main crisis. I've been anywhere from Ashani to Raymer to Zana to Weishan to Kid to now kind of Zurong of all things. So I've been super excited for a new character to come out, and one of my favorite characters in gaming is actually Vigar from League of Legends. I don't know how familiar you guys are with him.
Dude, the tiny evil.
Not at all.
The tiny evil.
He's he's a glass cannon. He will blow you up, basically.
Yeah, and he's super evil. Like he gets mad if you make short jokes about him. He's kind of a little witty. And,
yes, I know him.
Yeah,
Okay.
pure concentrated little evil purple wizard.
Okay.
And now we have a character which has been told to be evil, told to love the color purple, has magic, has bat wings, judging off of this image.
Bat wings are sick.
Bat wings are super sick. She's wearing a skull.
Big bat wings. That's a good aesthetic.
Yeah, I love it a lot. And if she's actually going to float with bat wings, that's like a cool visual representation of a float. So I'm really excited for that. But all this evil, all this purple, and has dark magic and summoning potentially. Like, guys, I don't know about you.
I hope you like
wait.
floaties.
I happen to know something else about Flotina.
What?
And that is yesterday on DJ Tech Live, they were doing a review or a interview with Jason that is at DJ Tech Live. He's like a streamer. And he asked, is there any kind of like timeline for the new character? And Jason said, I think, pretty confident, he said something like within the next 6 weeks.
6 weeks or less. If it doesn't happen in that time, you can blame Jason, was, I believe, the quote from the interview, if I remember correctly.
Oh, yeah, you were
Yeah.
also watching that shit.
Yeah.
So, 6 weeks? That's
6 weeks or less. So to me,
weeks.
that hopefully 4 weeks, maybe less.
All right, guys. Next week, it's confirmed. Practically, I mean, kind of confirmed that Flotina's coming tomorrow.
Yeah,
It could
This
be
is crazy.
tonight.
Yeah, just relaunch
Oh
your
my
game
God.
right now. We should just check.
Right
You never
now,
know.
guys, we're getting a patch in the middle of our
No,
podcast.
we're
Again,
not getting another patch in the middle of the broadcast.
I would have, if Flotina dropped right now, I'd have no problem.
oh my God,
make
like,
my life
I'd
hard.
be like, see you guys. Like, enjoy the rest of the podcast. Bye. Like, we're doing it.
But yeah, this is very, very, very exciting.
Speaking of
And you know what?
patches,
Real talk? Wait, real talk. I'm going to give my
Okay.
thoughts real quick.
Mhm.
I am not a floaty player. I'm not. I'm going to be real. There are no floaty characters. I mean, I guess Project M Mario.
okay,
But
Mhm.
like,
I'm
but like,
so surprised this coming from the Ashani main. You don't like floaties?
yeah. Oh, what a surprise! The Fox Ashani player doesn't play floaties. What a weird. And everyone's getting really excited because I know I'm not the only one. Everyone's like, "What if this is the floaty for me?"
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be totally honest, and maybe this is taking the wind out of the sail. I expect to like Flotina. I don't expect to like her so much that she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna play her as a main or as a secondary or even a tertiary." I don't expect to love her that much. But I'm very excited because I think the floaty archetype in general, I mean, it's no secret that I love what they've done with Zana and with Wei Shan and with Raymer, where they've taken they've given us really fresh outlooks on these archetypes.
Yeah.
Like, I think that Wave Dash has done a great job of taking traditional archetypes and giving them their own flavor. And I'm very that is what I'm really excited for. Even though I don't expect for Flotina to like click with me and be like, wow, this is the character I want to play forever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just very excited to see how they take a floaty character and give us something that is just different than what we've received in
just
other
for review.
games.
How are they defining like floaty? Like, what
We
do we
don't
really
know.
mean here?
We don't know.
We don't know.
We've heard floaty archetype.
We know there is a float mechanic. I'm
Yes.
pretty sure.
But they've been pretty vague, huh?
We know a float mechanic. It's been heavily hinted at via lore pieces that there's some summoning of demons going on.
Yes.
Specifically, there's a charm of some imps too in the game right now, which seem to be pretty likely to be some little creature that she can bring onto the stage. We know she's very evil, and we know she is Hispanic. I think that covers everything.
I'm super hyped. I'm just excited to see something different, and I'm very confident that we will see something different.
I'm
with Flotina.
just looking forward to new characters in general because
Yeah.
I remember one of the things Jason talked about was like rounding out the roster with more people. That's or more characters rather. People. I guess they're people. It's just as being one of the critical things he wants to work on with the game.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
As cool as Icons is, and as much as I love the game right now, it is kind of it's a smaller meta right now, just because there's not as many characters, there's not as many stages. And so it's going to be exciting over the next year of early access. We're going to get a bunch of new characters and a bunch of new stages, and it's going to be really cool to see how these characters, all combine into hopefully something way better than we have now, right?
Yeah, so actually 2 more things to note real quick. In the interview yesterday, it was also very much hinted at, without directly saying it, that a stage will be coming with Flotina as well, because he gave the same exact timeline for a new stage, which was 6 weeks or less as well.
I mean, we have that.
We have the concept art of the stage that she's from and everything, so it's very likely that stage or some variation
I'm
of
looking forward to another stage. That's hype.
Right.
That is hype.
And
I agree.
The other thing worth noting, and this actually might be the piece I'm most excited about overall, is I know there's been a lot of talk about how Flotina's animations specifically have been done like above and beyond the standards that we've seen, to the point that they don't know if they can even match it again moving forward because of the development time it took and how high it raised the bar. Like, it slowed down the development of this character with how good the animations are. So
I cannot imagine that they did not want to reveal Flotina at SmashCon. There is no way, if I don't care who tells me, I feel like the plan 4 or 5 months ago was to reveal Flotina at SmashCon. I'd be shocked if it were otherwise.
I agree.
I didn't even think about that.
Flotina being delayed, which I'm literally just assuming that she's delayed from where she was supposed to release.
Mm-hmm.
It's amounting to something really good, is what that tells me. Like, the idea that these animations are maybe too good from a practical, development cycle perspective, is very exciting, because we know that, hey, hopefully, this character should be super exciting, even if you don't play her.
Right.
She'll hopefully be a really exciting drop.
Especially with Wei Shan's...
It adds to the visual value of the game,
Yeah.
It really does. Especially with Wei Shan's animations being as good as they were, and knowing that Wei Shan's animations are now the floor for the future of the game. Their plan is to bring...
animations are great.
Right, they're fantastic, and they plan to bring every character up to his level at the minimum moving forward. And on top of that, they're saying Flotina's above and beyond what they're expecting. So the hype cannot be more real. I just can't wait for it. I really hope it's the less than 6 weeks option, but if we wait 6 weeks, we wait 6 weeks, man. I'm sure it'll be worth it.
We'll find out.
I bet he was giving himself a little bit of space.
That's what I hope.
I
hope he's saying because they do bi-weekly, right? They're giving themselves three patch cycles, which is okay, reasonable. Hopefully it's supposed to be 2, but he's given the possibility that they delay it.
Hey man, you can't rush good art.
Like a masterpiece.
You have to make it good the first time.
Exactly.
All right. Suppose we should move on.
Yes, I think we should. And speaking of patches, we may or may not have had a pretty big one.
Giant patch.
Pretty
My
big.
Goodness, this patch was crazy. There's it's almost too crazy.
I played free for all yesterday.
Everyone thinks their character is bad unless you play a Shani.
Or
you play a Shani, you think your character's fantastic. If you don't play a Shani, everyone's out here like, oh my god, I'm the worst character in the game. Oh my god, I can't believe. This patch was a nerfing patch. This was definitely
It wasn't just a nerfing patch. There was free for all.
Sure.
Let's say realigning to a new meta.
Well, no, and you know what? I think it's totally reasonable to call it a nerfing patch.
Yeah, no, for sure.
That said, nerfing patches are necessary sometimes. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's been a while. It's been literally God, it's actually been 7 weeks since the last balance patch. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of tournaments. We've found some pretty crazy stuff in icons right now. And
which means that they've seen a meta develop and they have data and they have input, which is they kind of like a triangle formula,
right.
That was another thing that Jason talked about yesterday is okay, taking the data and what people are saying and kind of getting a collective result out of that points the direction of what to change about a character, about the game, to make a better experience or more balanced experience. And that was really interesting to me.
Right.
So overall, I am optimistic about the nerfs. I know some people are out there with Raymer is not the thing anymore. I can't backwards F tilt and all this stuff. And man, now I can't do the thing with whatever. It's probably fine. You're probably gonna be okay.
Boy, here's some spoils on my grade of the patch. Wait, Sean is still good. Kid is still good. Raymer is still good. Ashani is amazing.
Okay,
Ashani is
in
incredible.
particular, I agree with the Raymer side special change. Actually, I think the reward for hitting an unaimed or no, a non-bounced shot should be lower. And I thought that was something I thought really early on. Is like, wow, this kills people very easily, and it takes a lot less work and a lot less positioning.
Yeah,
Let's go through it. Let's just go through
tackle it.
character by character and give general
Okay,
thoughts.
okay.
So-
We don't need to read out every little change, but let's just give thoughts.
Right. So some of the most important ones are actually some of the overall mechanics that are being changed. So first off, everyone's favorite, the red bounce or spike bounce. One, untechable spikes are no longer reset when a victim is grabbed. Bye dare loops. Right?
Bless.
Thank you.
Bless.
Bless.
Oh my god, dare loops are gone. Holy moly. Ashani, or I mean, let's be honest, this affects Zana more than every other character.
Yes.
It still affects other characters. Both Zurong and Ashani
Yes.
both found uses for this kind of mechanic. But Zana definitely, I have personally gone from 0 to death from just this.
Right.
And
There's an equally important change with two spike bounces where you can DI your direction
That's
now
true.
off the bounce, which the higher you bounce, the more distance you're going to cover with the DI. But for some cases, like maybe a Zana Dare very high off the stage at a high percent, now you can get away, which is nice. And there's a lot less guaranteed combos now out of a spike. So.
Now, there is a nuance to that DI, though. The DI, when you get spiked off of the ground, or when you bounce off the ground, rather, is half of the DI influence you would normally have from a move.
Yeah, you're not
But
gonna
it's
fly
still
the sun,
much
but-
more than nothing.
Yes.
I have personally I've definitely missed stuff because of this DI change. I've definitely missed dare confirms that would have killed. They were really close to hitting off stage, but didn't work anymore. Zurong, Zana, any character that kills with dare, it's harder to do now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Not necessarily like it's
hey, really quick.
super hard.
Apparently, it's not in the patch notes, but there was a bug where getting an untechable spike against the wall is fixed. So that is fixed
That's great.
also.
Oh,
It's
bless
not in the notes,
Waybash.
but I see
Icons
something bad in the chat.
Icons is the greatest game ever made. Oh my god.
Hold on.
It's the patch that keeps giving. Let's go.
All right. So
no, these are great changes. I don't think any one of us will say that these changes are not fantastic and something that we've been wanting for a long time now.
Even Zana mains admitted
Oh yeah.
for the most part that like this is kind of silly.
Zana's punish game is still ridiculous though.
Yeah,
She
it's
can
still
still
good.
get up throw dare, up throw fair is still there.
Yeah, you just can't dare again and again and again.
And even then, if you dare them onto a platform on like wave dash and down strike tech chase, like there's still stuff you can do out of up throw dare. It's just like
no one got
now
gutted.
Zana can't just do it.
now there's an
forever.
interaction. You're having an interaction with the other player now.
Right. And
instead
the
of like
the whole
playing your own game.
Yeah, the whole point of the change was to give the receiving player of the spike more agency in the combo,
Right.
which was accomplished. Also worth noting, knockback reduction on a bounce has been reduced, meaning that you will bounce higher. It's not a substantial amount; it's only a 5% difference on the reduction, but still definitely worth noting. You'll see people bounce a little higher earlier, and you'll be able to get follow-ups a little sooner.
Yep.
Yes.
Then the last overall gameplay change was performing strikes during dash and run, which actually feels really great and also terrifies me with some characters, maybe some certain twin totems that have some pretty good strikes.
This is a wild. I agree with you that this change is actually much larger in implication than it seems.
Yes.
Afi and Galu forward strike,
Yeah.
Kid
Down strike, yeah.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah, there's some scary ones out there.
Those
on
are the big
Zurong
ones.
too.
I'm already getting mileage out of Raymer downstrike, and he's not even like super fast.
I'm gonna be real. I think it's Kid and Afi and Galu are the ones who the most.
Definitely.
I should say. Maybe Wei Shan for like corner tech chases, but I think they benefit the most. I have it's just a weird muscle memory change as well. I definitely have like when I'm trying to run off the platform and fair, and this is so I'll try to run off the platform and fair. And if you watch my stream a lot, you know I miss that input a lot, and now dash attack, and I'll dash attack instead. But now I just forward strike, which is turns out way more punishable than a dash attack. So suddenly a lot of my bad control habits are actually being like super exposed. So thank you, Wave Dash, for exposing my really bad platform movement.
All right, so we're going to move on to the character changes specifically. Just for the sake of speed here, if there's something notable, let's discuss it for each character. Otherwise, we're just kind of going to talk about the rough changes. So, Galu, really just the landing hitbox got changed.
Good. Okay.
I think it's more of a quality of life than anything, but
yeah, it is technically a buff because now they don't have the risk of like their combo hitbox of back air and air being stuffed, like being hit out of the combo hitbox by the landing hitbox.
Right.
There were some people who were doing that a little bit on purpose, though. They would do all of the back air and then like fast fall and get that final hit way after the back air seemingly ended. And it probably didn't happen a lot, but it did happen just enough that I was kind of like raising my eyebrow. I was like,
it was definitely really obnoxious to me, and I felt I was really obnoxious, especially on shield. Or actually with punishing in general, both in shield and out of shield, but as a combo tool, this is a buff for a small buff for Offing. It really brings them back to what they were before this patch. But they did have combos ruined by these landing hitboxes appearing so late. So I mean, this change is fantastic. It's a small buff while also being a fantastic quality of life change over something that maybe should have been in there from the beginning, right?
Definitely. As for Ashani,
Ashani's the best character.
I'm sure you can tackle this wonder.
Ashani's the best character.
I'm sure you are thrilled.
I'm not. I'm actually not. Dead serious. I don't really like the up air change that much. Specifically, I don't like how you can't reverse up air anymore. And I'm gonna kind of leave. I'm not really gonna talk about the knockback that much. The knockback changes. The knockback changes are big, but most of my thoughts are actually on this reverse change. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say this right now. These changes I think are really good overall for Ashani. Ashani's place in the meta is improved by these changes. Ashani has a lot better options killing from like 80 to 120, 130 with this change.
So is your problem really mainly like a personal playstyle kind of thing?
Well, no, and yeah, and this is a as a I want to win. These changes are fantastic. As a I want Ashani to feel like a really cool and like fair character that has a lot of stuff, and it's not about balance. So hear me out on this. Losing reverse up air means no more edge guards with reverse up air. It means no more combos with reverse up air. It means unintuitive DI from platform tech chases from no reverse up air. It means that platform tech chases in general require less, for me at least, I feel like it's a lot easier now. I don't need to worry about hitting the right hitbox of up air because they all send in that same general direction. I don't think, again, this is good, I think, for Ashani, but
you're just in mourning over the loss.
And it's been a day. It's been a day. Nuance. Maybe I will come around and I will flip on this, but I've only, just yesterday in general, and maybe it's just because I'm still not used to it, but I feel like I've lost a lot of the as you said, there's the subtleties, the nuance. Granted, up air was not a crazily nuanced move. It was just really good. But now it's it feels very
very straightforward.
Here's what you get for your up air, regardless of where you hit the up air. And then the trade-off is that it doesn't kill until 180, which is, probably fair.
Granted, some of that power did get shifted to a similar hitbox move with up special. So the up special change is untested right now. I don't want to give any giant. This is something that I think me and J-Fist and Olsey were talking about it this morning. J-Fist has gotten nothing with this change.
Ulci has gotten it quite a bit, a god of mileage out of this change. I've gotten it sometimes, but I also haven't been going for up special kills very much.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those, like, I think that this up special change is good overall.
I agree.
I think it's better than it is bad. I think that up special being a kill move makes way more sense than up air being a kill move.
I think having the kill move be a little more committal is probably a better choice.
For sure. But I'm gonna be real. Up special kills could have happened before this patch too. And I mean, I'm not gonna say no to this buff. Let me preface. Right. Ashani is really good right now. Hell yeah. This is awesome. I'm very happy about that.
All right.
It's just a little bit, this up special change makes it a little easier to kill with the up, right? It happens more consistent.
All right. So next on the list would be the previous agreed upon best character in the meta, Kid.
Got a lot of changes.
Which up until yesterday was my main for a few weeks. So I'll try to cover this. Let me know if I miss anything on this.
He's got a page full of his own stuff.
I don't disagree with any of these changes personally, and I'm sure people are going to have varying opinions on it. The thing I miss the most is
attack change.
The ledge attack change? I don't have an opinion on it. I didn't see it happen enough for it to be a big problem, but that's just probably anecdotal. For me, back air not having a reverse hitbox now is something I miss, but I don't know if that makes it a bad change. I actually think it might be better, but I think it's too early to tell. I want to see how Kid combos kind of come to be, because there was a lot of DI mix-ups you could do mid-combo between going for up air or reverse bear. So I want to see how that plays out.
It no longer hits the other way.
Correct.
Is what you're saying?
Yeah, and if you get like that reverse hitbox, it's like a sour spot forward.
You can still hit that strong hitbox. The spacing is a lot tighter. Kid lost. The big thing he lost was his big up air, back air 50-50 DI mix-up, where both of his kill moves would kill you if you and it was just DI mix-up.
Yeah, right.
That's the big thing he lost. I mean, okay. The side special change, everyone, that was good.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Side special change, dash attack change, I think was a good quality of life change. I think at the higher levels, this doesn't matter as much.
It was already punishable, so it didn't make a huge
it was already
difference.
really punishable.
Wait, what do you mean exactly by quality of life? It seems like...
I mean, as a newer player or a mid-level player, I feel like Kid's dash attack is really one of the more overbearing moves in the game.
Yeah.
Because it's just one of those moves that the DI can be unintuitive because you DI into Kid instead of out.
Right.
It's a little strange.
It's one of those, like, it's a weird... The arc that it sends at is weird. Like, it's one of those, like... And he's really fast. So I think making it a little bit more punishable. I mean, Kid, I think, is fast enough and has the tools in neutral to, like, Kid shouldn't just be throwing it out anyway.
Right. When
Kid does a dash attack, they should obviously be making sure that it's a good one.
It should be a commitment. That's naturally what dash attacks are.
Right, especially such a good combo starter.
The shine, the overload nerf. The overload nerf, I think, is really good.
Hitbox size reduced by 12.5%.
So, I don't have a ton of time with Kids since this patch. I've played him a good amount, but there were times pre-patch that I landed shines that I knew felt a little like, I don't know if I earned that connect.
To give context to this nerf, because I did a small amount of testing with it, Zurong's Nair now has spacings where it loses to shine. Or rather, I should say, where it beats shine.
Okay.
In the past,
shine,
it would lose? Is that what you meant?
So in the past, when Zurong would jump, there was a large portion of Zurong's arc that would be covered by shine entirely. And where Kid would both low-profile Zurong and hit the shine. And it would just be like... And I complained about this a lot with Shani as well, where Kid's shine would low-profile your aerials, and because shine was so safe and so fast, you could just kind of use it. You could just kind of throw shine out at aerials, and it would just beat aerials most of the time. It's a lot harder for Kid to do that. He still can. Right. It's important to note there are still spacings where Kid's shine will low profile and shine you out of these aerials.
And
but it is no
still
longer
fast and still jump cancelable.
Right.
So
Right, it's still a great move, and the damage, it's not 7 damage anymore. Thank goodness.
7.
Right.
It was 7.
It
Yeah, it
was
was
7 damage.
Wow.
So,
Like,
on-
it's
I would describe it
ahead.
as if you had a range of honest to dishonest, we're definitely moving more towards the direction of Overload being a more honest move now, right? Whether you
I
want to
would
say it's
even-
fully the way there, it's just there's less instances where you're like, that was
Right.
weird. I don't know why that connected. And
I'm gonna say it. I don't think that it was ever super dishonest,
Right.
but I do think that it was too good of a utility knife in neutral in certain matchups. If Zana did a short hop nair, if Zurong did a short hop fair, if Ashani does a short hop anything, Kid could run in and shine them out of that, and when you shine them when they're above you, that is a fantastic, fantastic angle to get a shine.
yeah,
It was, just one of those things that like shine was so good against the primary tools of other characters that it made fighting Kid feel very limited for them.
It
At least
was a little
that's
bit
how I felt as a
centralized.
Shani. I felt like I had 2 moves against Kid, and it was back air and down tilt.
Right.
And if I was not using those moves, then I was not going to beat the Kid in front of me.
and
It
Um,
was just a little bit centralizing, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was just too good of a my option beats your option tool as Kid. And now it's still really strong. It's still like frame 3 combo starting, tech chase starting, like 5 damage is not bad. Like it's certainly still an amazing move, and it still can low profile. It's just not dumb.
right. And it's worth noting too. Strong Bad Adam in the chat mentioned that Sour Spot Baird should have a similar angle to his nair. So I kind of talked about it having a.
I was talking with Frog about this over Twitter earlier. And that was a big thing Frog said when we were talking about, like, what about reverse bear as a combo tool? Frog was saying, like, why would you ever reverse bear when you can nair and you get similar results every time?
Exactly.
We're going to have to see how that... I mean, I think that's a very valid, that's a valid criticism.
That's a valid criticism, but I'm
see-
also glad that like reverse back air doesn't kill, because I don't know. I mean,
yeah.
you could just say that I'm bad, but like, man, I was always DIing as if it was going to hit me in the
yeah.
direction that I
Yeah.
thought it was going to hit me, and then I would die going the other way.
Yep.
And I'd be like, I would just get like so mad. I was just angry. It was a
Certainly,
despair.
it as a combo tool is just something that like we're gonna have to see develop in the meta. I think that the change is good. I think Kids' changes are all reasonable and all good changes. Frog thinks that that's not the case. I strongly disagree with him.
Yeah.
But we're just gonna have to see how Kid's combo game fleshes out, because he does this does change Kid's combo game.
Yeah, for sure. Erica,
Nice.
would you like to tackle the Raymer changes?
Yeah. Okay, so I know there are some people out there who are already like, rip Raymer, he's done. Friendship with Raymer ended. Playing whatever now.
No.
I'm here to tell
No,
you,
Shani is
like, I
next.
got to play Raymer a little bit yesterday. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. We're gonna be fine. All the Raymers, it's okay. I agree with like 90% of these changes. So I'm a little bit like on the jab, but I haven't really been able to compare it to everyone else's jab, just the frame data. But I do feel like going from 3 to 4 might feel a little
Went
bit
from 4 to 5.
slower.
Or do you mean active frame quantity?
Yeah.
Or no,
both,
it went
both.
from frame 4,
I mean,
it was
both.
frame 4 to frame 5 for jab 1.
That's
but-
yeah.
Just his range, whatever. His range was great.
Yeah.
And so they made it a little slower. I think
His
it's,
jab was hitting people that were kind of like standing inside and behind him, and then he was able to do like his full jab or like maybe even sometimes grab. And I can definitely see how like his CQC is a little bit overbearing. Side tilt is still strong, but you need to. I've noticed this as a player myself, is like I had a strong habit of, before the first F tilt nerf, I was throwing out F tilts like crazy, and better players like Mr. Mime or Ulci or whoever were like basically reading my F tilts. And what they would do is they would do a move into me, and then I would try to punish with F tilt, and they would not even reacting, they would already roll. And then I was like, after a while, I was like, wow, F tilt is so good. that I only know how to F tilt. So I had to really consider that, like, okay, I need to F tilt purposefully.
My
I need
man.
to think. I need to think. I need to think about my F tilts now. So I'll just tell you, F tilt is still really, really good.
It is.
But you need to think about when you're going to do it now and where you're going to do it instead of just like I can kick everywhere for free.
I think we've all
the
heard
knockback.
the stories. We've all heard the stories of the F tilt bop, where after I got knocked out by Morse code at low tier city, I went to the friendly setups and I sat down with players and I said, "Play my Raymer," and I beat players that you'd be surprised that I've beaten. I beat them literally. I didn't shoot the gun. That was the one thing. I never shot the gun. I never did an aerial. I would just walk around. I would walk, F tilt, and roll, and that was it.
Oh,
it
yeah.
was. Ooh, it was
Okay.
crisp. I'm sorry. I know I'm cutting you off.
That's all right. This is
This is it, right? This is like the one change I wanted more than anything else. I'm so happy. Right, yes.
So
Yes.
F tilt is still very, very excellent. It's probably still one of the best F tilts, but it's not free anymore. You
Yeah.
have to hit it. And speaking of like hitting it, the reward is not straight up killing usually as much, which I think was like, okay, F tilt killing to the other F tilts do that. Like sometimes, I think that F tilt and then going for like a ricochet is fair. But F tilt sometimes, especially on Malu Malu, I got this a lot on Malu Malu. It was like if I F tilted somebody
Yeah.
at 100, they were probably dead, which was cool in the moment. But afterwards, I was like, that I don't feel like I really earned that.
Especially with the reverse hitbox, which is also gone now. So
Oh man,
Well,
but the reverse
yeah.
hitbox
Well,
is
so-
that's where I disagree. The reverse hitbox is clutch. This big brain right there.
yeah, we're gonna
Reverse
disagree
hit?
on this one. I think
What?
reverse
gonna-
hit was super fun to land and use, but I can't imagine that being a fun experience for anyone on the receiving end. So like, yeah, it
How
shouldn't be
many
there.
sets have I lost to reverse F tilt?
If it was me, I did it on purpose every time.
I did it on
promise.
purpose too.
That doesn't matter. I don't care if it was on purpose.
Yeah,
I
but
care that it's not.
All these
Dumb.
Raymers
Not
getting
cheap.
these accidental reverse F tilts. They're like, yeah, premeditated. I calculated that
I
from birth,
premeditated.
you know.
I premeditated my shine beating Zurong's name.
But honestly, if I'm being really honest, it was if I can be salty about reverse kid back air killing me, then it's not fair for me to say that like Raymer reverse F tilt is
Especially because
honest.
like you're at least in disadvantage when kid back air kills you. When Raymer F tilt kills you, sometimes it just happens.
Yeah.
It's like,
What?
oh.
Nonsense! You let Raymer get standing inside of you.
Or it's you rolled in and you just died for it. Like
You got
instantly.
punished
Bad
for
guy, you're
rolling.
dead.
Yeah.
You got punished
That's
for
fair.
rolling.
Fair. You know what? That's fair.
Other stuff.
Nair.
The name change is interesting.
So
I'm kind of half and half on the Nair change.
I'm
like,
with you.
I thought it was really cool. Like, okay, I can follow their DI, and I'm really close to them. I committed hardcore, so now I'm going to reap the reward of landing both hits of Nair
Right.
at low percent in some situations. Now that's a lot less likely, which I guess like doing 26% with one move is overbearing.
Right.
But I
The
had
way-
fun doing it, so
Go
it is
ahead.
what it is.
I would have
The way
liked
I
to have
see it-
seen it not do 26%, but still act the same way. But I'm very interested to see how this plays in the meta and then go from there, revisit it. down
Okay.
the
If
line.
it was me making a change to Nair, what I would have done is made the inward part of it still do 2 hits, but those hits don't hit as hard. So like if you space it well, it does a little bit more, but you're not gonna get both hits.
So,
but
and
if you
see-
hit both, you know,
But that's
it's
the
a different-
trade-off, though, because if you do that, then you lose a lot of Nair's utility as a space move on shield. Nairs are very good aerial as like a neutral tool as well, I think, and it doing 13% is like
It's
that's
plenty.
not bad. That's
It's
good.
still
It's like
plenty. It's still very good.
still very good, even with just the one hit. It's in while you are in advantage, you can't get as big of a reward, but in neutral, you still have like you would still get a pretty good reward for hitting there. It's a very big change for Raymer. I like it personally, not because I don't think. I mean, you guys know the double hit Nair was definitely not very high on the list of things I didn't like. but I do in a if asked, do you think this should be like, do you think this should be here? I kind of agree that like you shouldn't be able to just easily. It's not hard. And for a while, you Ramers tried to say it was hard, and I believed you like a fool. And then
What?
and then I looked at it and tried it a little bit. It's not hard. It's not hard at all. Hold on a second.
You have to follow their DI.
Oh, what? You have to follow DI.
You have to jump into them. You have to be like standing inside of them.
You have to. Are you telling me you have to like platform tech chase sometimes, or like
you have to jump? You have to jump with them, dude.
But it's also worth noting you can still do it on shield. The double hit is still very strong on shield. I think that it's. I think it's still a very good tool on shield. There's still a lot of good things going for Nair. It just loses its most obvious, most blatantly good.
There is an improvement to Nair that some people probably haven't realized. If you've ever landed a move at low percent and like because the stun was so low, they just hit you back.
It's safe on hit.
That's happened to me with Nair a couple times where it was not safe on hit. But now with the knockback change, that will probably happen a lot less, which is good for me because that kind of stuff really gets on my nerves.
At least on like the lighter characters for sure. It's definitely not gonna. And then maybe the biggest change to Raymer,
the guns,
the biggest changes, the double guns. What are your thoughts on the new neutral special, this rapid fire thing?
You know what? I'm just gonna combine side special, neutral special in one discussion. I like to believe I was using neutral special more than most Raymers before the change. And what I would do is I would full hop and then I would start a neutral special. And while it was going, I would fade back or fade forward. And because the animation is a little different than side special, people didn't react to it as readily. So it caught some people off guard or I got a little bit of pressure where I wouldn't normally get pressure. But it definitely wasn't something to spam. So now I feel like it's a little bit weirder to use in the air, which is what I liked doing. But it is way faster, which means like all this different utility, all this different kind of annoying you could do with it. It's gonna be fun to experiment with. Yeah. As for side special, I absolutely agree that doing a non-bounced ricochet should not be as rewarding as it was. I definitely saw some Raymers, and I did this a couple times too, especially in bracket if I felt like I really needed to, and especially against Kid, where I would just run up to the lip and aim at them and then shoot them.
Yep.
And that was enough. And now it could still steal their jump or be annoying, but it's not going to be quite as stupid as it was. If you want to really get someone off stage and destroy them, you have to do a trick shot.
Right.
Forward throw side special. Forward throw side special was one of the most reliable edge guard sequences in the game. Right? And there's no getting around that, especially on Kid.
And that's still good. You just have to do it a little bit better.
It's just now you have to be a little better at it. And I think that this is the best possible way they could have dealt with side special.
Yep. Neutral
special, this is my question about neutral special, because it's not safe on hit when you're close. That's a big deal. You can be F-tilted out of it by every character in the game if you're too close.
Yep.
The question is, where are the ranges or where are the positions where neutral special would now be better than side?
So so I actually have a note for a different point. Actually, you go archive first because my note is a little separate.
Okay. I would say that the way you time it is critical, because the variations in the neutral special, because it's a sequence of 4 shots, right? You have 2 shots, and then he kind of stops, and then he does 2 more. Varying that timing is kind of like a mix-up. So when you're moving around, or when they're moving around, and you do the shots slightly different, that's a whole nother layer. It's a really subtle layer.
It's you're not even talking
and that
about.
Was true before, but now that it's faster, it's even more critical. So I could do 2 shots, and then you might expect a third, and then I just don't.
Yeah, and so and then you have more mix-ups on when you're kind of at that money range where you're just out of their range. You kind of have that mix-up of okay, I stopped after 2 shots, or I stopped after 3 shots, but not 4. What did they do after? What did they do immediately after my shot? What kind of position? So I guess, that makes sense. As a, Because side special, I do kind of think that side special is the safer tool,
It
but it makes a lot of
has a
sense.
lot more warm up sides.
I do definitely agree that like neutral special definitely. Okay, I didn't think about it that way. As like what happens after.
So there's also a thing you can do with neutral special too, where you can short hop, fast fall, and cover top platform and bottom platform. Granted, you don't get much off of it because there's no knockback, but you can kind of cover some space if you're trying
That's
to interrupt
cute.
some stuff.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
That's good to
I'm
know.
not convinced that the neutral special is actually really good with Raymer yet.
I agree.
But I will
You
say
mean the old one or the new one?
the new one. I'm not
Okay.
convinced that it's very good. I think that Hylian specifically was onto something really, really strong with the old one. But the old one, what you would do is if you turned around and then short hopped and then threatened back air, but then like B turnaround neutral special, it was actually like a really just a devastatingly safe mix up to do. Because if
Wow.
you jumped and if you mean back air is a crazy good defensive hitbox, so
Mhm.
your short hop threatens really well. And then even if neutral special's not a lot of damage or not super crazy, it was still definitely something. So I'm not really convinced that this is better than that yet, but I definitely do think that this is. I mean, I'm intrigued. I'm very excited to see players experiment with it because I think there is stuff we can do here.
Yeah,
Raymer's neutral special will find a sweet spot. This may be it, but as players experiment, I think we're going to get closer.
If you are playing Raymer, I would say experiment with the neutral special. I was experimenting with the old neutral special a lot because I felt like it was a little underrated. The new neutral special is extremely interesting to me, and I haven't had a lot of time to play with it yet, but I am thinking about it.
Yeah,
One more thing on it though is that the animation is a little bit uncanny, sped up, especially with the impact of the gun being kind of lowered. It's obviously less damage, less knockback. Maybe he shouldn't raise his arms as high when he shoots it, but that's kind of more like a really
he does
thing.
kind of go into like the JoJo's.
Like he's just
not even JoJo's, but like he does a pose with it for sure. Just a little flip.
So I actually would like to see them potentially mess with the knockback or hit stun of new neutral special, but I think it's worth giving it some time now to see how it plays out. I think it kind of has like a weird spot right now where it staggers, but like not very long, and it just, I don't know, there's a disconnect there with me between bullets hitting you and the amount of time you're hit. I don't think knockback should be changed, or if it is, it's very slightly like base, but no knockback growth still. But I'd like to see maybe a little more of a stagger. But in general, I think it's a better change for now, but we'll have to see how it plays out.
We should probably move on to.
All right, let's talk about quote unquote the worst character in the game.
What?
Yeah. So
no, I'm serious though. Wei Shan is really good still, and now I almost don't even want to talk about it. I almost just want to say Wei Shan's fine.
I don't think we should spend a ton of time. The point I would like to make about Wei Shan is I think he's much more honest. When I play against Wei Shan, I don't scratch my head and think
that's kind of the theme of the patch,
right?
It is the theme.
Right?
Of this
it's the honest patch, like
it is
the removing of the egregious.
There's
all right.
So side strike's a big one, right? Like I mean, when you think Wei Shan, you think side strike. There's already been minimum of 10 times that I've thought to myself, I would have gotten hit by that yesterday, and so it didn't happen now. And generally it's like above and behind him, but that's kind of where we're at, and I'm super happy with that.
So to kind of like speed through Wei Shan, because I think that he got a lot of changes.
Mm-hmm.
Only a couple of them are really controversial, I think.
Yep.
Neutral special and down special are the two biggest changes for Wei Shan. Forward strike's a big one, but I think that everyone saw it coming,
right.
And I think that nobody really looks at it and says, no, it should hit behind his head like a mile behind him. I think that's fine.
No!
Neutral special and side special both have pretty large implications in the meta right now. As for right now, the Wei Shan players that are currently prominent, being Mr. Mime and Jokomo, they are going to have to alter their playstyles because they cannot rely on these tools in certain matchups anymore. Neutral special was insane against us. Yeah, I think that, in fact, that is the only matchup that I think actually flips for Wei Shan. I think that I personally thought that Wei Shan slightly beat Ashani before, I think that Ashani beats Wei Shan now. I think that's the biggest one because Wei Shan's neutral special was crazy.
Right. And
It was crazy.
For some,
He had like 3 frames disparity between his hitbox being gone, his giant hitbox that stuck out into the sun, and him being actionable again. It was such an insanely good move.
And for some context on neutral special, real quick, I went and tested it right away because this was something that caught my eye. Generally, now when you see neutral special come up, that is the time that it can hit you. There was almost no instance that I saw it out there no longer rising and still got hit by it. And to the point, I was playing Raymer, I was running back and forth between the neutral special, and I was very rarely getting hit. So
it was well, I mean, the active frames were cut in half.
Yeah.
That, I think, if there's anything about Wei Shan that I think was nerfed maybe too much, okay. If this went up to like 10 or 11 frames active hitbox instead of, what is it now, 8? 8 or 7?
8 now, yeah.
So, okay, sure. Like, I can see that. That said, I do not think that any matchup relies on this move.
None at all.
In terms of, like, this is... I think that Ashani was the most egregious example of the move's strength. Wei Shan can still play the game with Ashani.
Yeah.
I think, and this is gonna be a really, I'm not trying to be spicy right now, but Wei Shan players are going to have to play the game differently than they did before. Because they do not have buttons that win neutral anymore. They do not have a button that says you have to deal with this button before you can interact with me at all. They can't do it anymore. And I mean, listen, Wei Shan is slow. He has great normals with great range that are all fast, and he's not that slow. It's not like dash back is useless with Wei Shan. It's not like dash forward has no threat with Wei Shan. It's not like you can't corner opponents still, because you can corner them from center stage. There's a lot of really...
You can corner them from center stage.
Up tilt got nut. Sorry. I was being a little immature. Up tilt didn't get changed. Whoa! Nair did not get changed.
Yeah,
Holy crap!
Nair, I would like to see get
Nair's
changed.
the same.
Yeah.
Those change. Oh my god! If you jump against a Wei Shan, he still has the best anti-airs into freaking kill you.
GG no re if you jump against Wei Shan.
Up tilt is still what a godlike move. Up tilt is godlike. Erica, you and I tested it, right? Raymer versus Wei Shan's up tilt. Raymer versus Wei Shan's up tilt is a hard matchup for Raymer. I'm not trying to say that Wei Shan didn't get weaker. And down special, he can't like spam it in the corner against Kid.
Thank God. Oh my God.
Which, sorry, that's exactly what happened. Kid's in the corner.
I try to not take
that's exactly what you would do.
I try to not take like super bold stands, but any Wei Shan main I see in the chat saying that the down special nerf was like unwarranted, no,
the down
reconsider,
special nerf,
please.
I think it's fine. It's still good.
Yeah, it's still a great move. It's not just good, it's great. It's just
good in disadvantage, and it's still really strong in the corner, and still sends an amazing angle. Can you do down special into down special into down special into down special on Kid anymore? No. You can. Sounds like you can. I know we're sounding very harsh, and I know I'm sounding very harsh because I'm very passionate about this subject. I do really, really, really think that Wei Shan is a really cool character who's exploring the idea of a slow, long-ranged character differently than any other character in the genre. And I want to see players push him further than he's being pushed right now. I know that, okay, listen, I mentioned earlier, Boyko played Wei Shan against me for like 20 minutes yesterday with a new patch. I'm not trying to say that, Boyko's better than me, obviously. And obviously we're all still learning the patches. I'm not trying to use this as clearly you can do it. But I am trying to say that, as an example, Boyko plays Wei Shan so much faster than every other Wei player. And that's the fact that he can play faster is indicative that there's still room for us to push. The fact that we have 2 Wei Shan reps who don't play super speedy, and that someone else can play super speedy and beat the crap out of me. And I'm not amazing against Wei Shan, but I'm not like terrible against him. Like, you know, Jokomo and I definitely have competitive sets. You know, I really, really, really feel like people are writing off Wei Shan really early right now.
Agree.
When a lot of it's going to have to be like, you know, I think players are going to have to grow with Wei Shan and learn how to play. He's slow. It's hard to play slow characters.
Yeah.
I think that's a fact. I don't think anyone will disagree. It is harder to play a slow character than a fast character most of the time.
We might want to save that topic for another day. I feel like that can get... We can go down a rabbit hole there. But...
All I'm saying is that I get it. Right now, you see giant obstacles, and you feel like you have to put in a lot of effort for what you do. I get that. That doesn't mean Wei Shan's bad, though. And that doesn't mean that, you know, you can't make things happen with Wei Shan. Wei Shan has all the tools necessary to beat fast characters.
I'll make a bold claim that I would expect the next time Wei Shan is changed in a balance patch will probably be a nerf of some kind. I think down the line he might get another little nerf. I think I think there's more to be found.
I kind of agree with that.
That's a claim. That's definitely a claim.
I
definitely think he's still
I don't
strong.
think he's busted, and I don't like none of that anymore. I think he's much more honest. I think he has some things that can be get a little more reward than they probably should. But I don't know. I'm not the master of it. That's just my guess moving forward. Erica, do you have any closing thoughts on this before we move on?
I think
on Wei Shan,
Yeah.
I definitely like super tilted about F Strike so many times. I was like, man, I jumped over him, behind him on the platform. He's not even looking in my direction, and I got sweet spot F Striked again. Yeah.
It's like getting KO'd by an afterthought is not the best feeling.
Right.
Ultimately, the only thing I've to say about that is salt.
Wei Shan,
we should move on.
I think Wei Shan is just a character that he's going to have to stop waiting for his opponent to act. He's going to have to start making moves and taking space and actually he's going to have to start forcing situations which he can. He has the tools to, but the play style we're going to see is going to change.
And I also have one question for you guys real quick before we move off of Wei. The up special change. Can you contextualize that a little bit? Because I couldn't really figure it out in messing with it.
I don't know.
If I know Strongbad's still in the chat, if you could...
It was too big. It was too big.
I just don't know what hitbox it's referring to.
I think it just reduced the size of it a little bit.
Literally, the up special is huge, and now it's not as huge.
But in what direction? Like vertically above him, or like horizontally?
Probably in general. I think that they're all circular hitboxes, so that they're probably done. It's probably just a radial change. Okay. If I had to guess, I don't actually know that.
Okay.
But if you ever tried to edge guard him from the front or from above and like just been hit like 10 times in a row, I imagine maybe that'll only happen 5 times out of 10.
Okay.
I mean, it's still a safe recovery, but it's probably not going to be as safe. Because I think the best way to interpret that. Okay. Oh, here we go. The outermost hitbox is removed at the tip of the Guandao. The sour spot also decreases in size, like a lot of the sour spots do when they become weaker.
Okay. Great.
Well, there you go.
Decent change. It was a really good recovery.
So it seems
really good.
There's a smaller opening now or a little more of an opening, I should say, for challenging his recovery maybe. So we'll have to see how that plays out. All right. So I believe this is the last one. Is Zana?
Nope, we have Zurong after this.
Zurong. Oh yeah. Okay. So it's a little short.
Blitz Zana. Zana's new animations are sick. Dare loops are gone, but Zana's still godlike out of a throw.
And they fixed their jabs.
Animations?
Better jabs.
Oh yeah.
Or worse jabs.
Forward tilt and up air both got brand new animations. Both are sick.
That's hot. That's sick. I'm a fan of that. I approve of that.
Yeah, I approve of pretty much all these changes. Jabs felt really impressive. The new animations look great. That's kind of it.
I mean,
right?
they tuned. Zana got tuned.
These look like a really really subtle tune-ups all across the board.
Right. Side strike will kill like earlier.
Probably giving her like a good patch because taking out the repeat down airs was definitely a nerf to Zana the most.
Right.
Compared
that was
to
a
anybody
Zana
else.
change. It was a Zona change, right?
Yeah, I agree.
In terms of the context.
All right.
And then Zurong, who
Zurong.
also got kind of relatively untouched. A small or buff. I guess it was really buffed.
It was a buff, yeah. Recovery is way better. Like, not to the point that you're gonna suddenly outmaneuver people like crazy, but there's a lot more times that you're like, oh, you almost had that recovery, and now that's gonna happen.
So the drift changed something that I will say. I definitely missed edge guards that I would have gotten on previous patches. Just from tiny drift changes, like I'm waiting for her to land. Oh, she drifted out way sooner than before.
Yep.
That was and she got to ledge, and it's like, okay, well, I think this is a small but good buff. I mean, any buff to Zoo's recovery is a good buff, right?
Yes.
a well-deserved buff. And then her up air removing that super bottom hitbox. Really sick as well.
Right, so you'll still hit very low if you short hop fast fall it on stage, but I think generally the point of this was to avoid hitting below ledge if you spaced it perfectly. Yeah. So that's just a good change overall. Down special kind of got just the quality of life change where you won't fly off the edge if you're standing on the ground when you activate it, and I think that's a good change overall. But yeah, really the recovery buff is pretty big, and I think with bringing down some of the other top characters, I think she's in a very good spot right now overall in the meta.
Yeah, Zurong could be like a top contender right now,
yeah.
Which surprises nobody.
Sum up the patch. How do you guys rate this patch notes? Closing thoughts, go.
All the egregious stuff got
egregious
removed.
Egregious.
I don't know how to say that word.
New word.
I can't pronounce it.
All right, how about let's say one sentence each and a score of 1 to 10. How does that sound from everybody?
Sure.
We're scoring the patch now.
Yeah, just roughly like how much you agree with the changes.
Can I do two sentences?
All right.
Sure.
You go first, Wonder Pop.
Okay. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. I think lots of characters got nerfed. And the characters that didn't get nerfed are obviously seem really strong right now. And in Ashani's specific instance, in my context, Ashani is really strong not because of her buffs, but because the tools that she really struggled to deal with in neutral got nerfed. And then my second sentence is, in the future, I hope to see a kind of patch. This kind of patch is something that I really like because I feel like this is addressing almost every major thing that was discussed in the community in the last month and a half. I don't think there's very few things that are that we talked to death about that it didn't get addressed, at least. Even if whether we agree or disagree with the change is one thing, but I think this is a good patch to show that hey, at least their focuses are in line with the community's focuses for the most part.
That was a pretty long second
paragraph.
sentence, right?
Yeah, that was my paragraph. Sorry, guys. I like to talk.
I will say that overall, I think the patch pretty good, 8.5 out of 10. If you're worried about your character, it's not that bad. It's gonna be okay. First of all, the game is still in development. Second of all, everybody was, for the most part, almost everybody is forced to be a little bit more honest. So if you're just focused on your own character, of course it's going to look a little bit bad. But if you look at all the patch notes and really be like, wow, man, if I was a Wei main, or wow, if I was a Raymer main, So everybody, we're all called to be a little bit better players. And that's going to make a better game.
Okay, cool. We're going to have to work on counting sentences for next episode. But so I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10, and I'll say no one got changed to the point that they are overbearing or underbearing. Everything seems pretty good. That's my assessment.
All right, so an hour and 40 minutes into this.
Yeah, our last segment's going to be
stacked up too much.
We got one little segment we still want to get to, a little bit of a community spotlight. We're gonna keep this pretty short. We'll show. So first off is our boy Sokoko Puffs. With
yeah, this was it. We're just gonna show off some videos.
With a YouTube video
released another highlight video. This was like 3 days
We're
ago.
not gonna show the whole thing, but like just a little bit of it.
Right.
Yeah,
And
just
then
bits
we got
and
some
pieces,
other
guys.
stuff to show
But y'all
off.
should definitely check out these videos afterward.
Yes, for sure.
So this is LTC, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
This
LTC.
particular clip.
Oh my god, just run underarm. I love Sakoko Puffs.
That's
Watching his
so
run at
weird.
Low Tier City was so freaking hype.
Well,
Yeah.
I was just gonna say
Hey,
watching his run
He went in
more
the other
literal
direction.
sense.
I'll say,
Like just his movement.
yeah, he's so strong. I'll say it again and again. I was the one at LTC telling everybody, watch out for this man. He's going to make some upsets. Specifically, my co-host over here was trying to say Ulci was going to beat Sora. And
I did say that Ulci had it.
and I
Oh
told
my
him,
gosh, dash
"Oh."
attack. Dash attack down air is rich. It kills me.
Cocoa Puffs was...
I received an
Jeez.
entertainment out of that.
Oh, show the clip after this, too. I know
Yeah.
we said just the Low Tier City ones, but there's one right after this clip that's sick. Or wait, maybe it's not... Oh, no, it's this one. Ooh, go down there. Yeah! Got him.
I love-
Take that, Sam.
I love Sora.
That's what you get for
Okay.
being number 10.
What?
We'll
Is
give
this
him one
personal?
more.
Look at this.
This is
Look
on
at this.
Boyko.
Look at this. This one. Oh my god, this is my favorite. If it's what I remember it being. Forward throw.
The Juan P.
Hit him one. Bam! Get him out of here. Oh yes.
Okay.
All right.
Wow.
I'm just happy
That
because it was Boyko that he did it too. That's what made me happy.
All right. So we're
go off, I guess.
gonna
Literally
cut
go
it
off the stage.
check out our boy Sokoko Puffs. He's just Sokoko Puffs on YouTube.
Also known as Sora.
Yep.
You know, Sora.
Yes, but he goes by Sakoko Puffs like everywhere now.
Yeah.
All of his handles
It's
are
good.
Sakoko Puffs.
I'm glad when people have a consistent like tag and
Yeah,
handle.
I think he was Sora and is switching to Sakoko Puffs and not the other way around.
So here's
But-
one more I want to show real quick, and
Icon's Combat Arena.
I'm
is a
hoping the
platform
stream can
fighter
hear
in
this.
development.
So Mr. Mockrock has a YouTube channel that I think he dedicates a lot to platform fighters. This video specifically talked about problems with heavyweights and designing them overall as a character in platform fighters, and he did a really good approach at taking a look at a couple different games and how they handle that archetype. And specifically, we're going to show a quick 90-second clip of him talking about icons in this video. Overall, it's super well produced. Please go check him out. It's Mock Rock TV on YouTube. He does really great work. So did you want to add something, Archive, before I start it?
Yeah, I watched this a few weeks ago, and I was showing it to some other friends of mine. We collectively, you know, as a group, we dabble in a lot of platform fighters, and a friend of mine is a heavies main. I'm like, this video is really good, and he talks about heavies like across every platform fighter and like some other fighting games. Like, this is excellent. And,
Yeah.
And then Shakes showed this to me in Wonder Pop. I'm like, wow, I'm glad we're on the same page of good videos. And like, oh, we're gonna show this off today. Okay, that's also cool. So yeah, here it is.
All right, cool. So we'll kind of stay quiet for this just because it's a little more informative. But yeah, just enjoy it.
Icon's Combat Arena is a platform fighter in development with clear roots from Melee, a Smash entry which is overall
Also,
been
if the
very
chat, if you
hostile
can't hear
to
it,
heavies.
please say so.
So it's interesting that both of the heavyweights in its current roster, Zana and Wei Shan, actually can stand up for themselves, both having reps in the top 10 at the time of this video. And they also do this in very different ways, with Zana being a grappler focusing on powerful throw combos and Wei Shan trading mobility for range. Icons also tries to create stronger heavyweights by normalizing characters across the board. Yes, Zana and Wei Shan are slower than their competitors, but there are no Robin versus Sonic foot races to see here, which is a shame because it's pretty damn funny. And every single character in Icons also has access to gust shielding, an admittedly cool mechanic that gives everyone a uniform way to reduce shield pressure. However, I'd argue balancing characters by making them more similar can be a bit of a slippery slope. You can just keep going in this direction and eventually end up with a bunch of perfectly balanced but equally boring fighters. Now, don't get me wrong here. Their
pretty much
approach
the
works,
segment?
plain and simple. Wei Shan and Zana aren't boring to play, and their developers were never
No, it's
worried
about to
about
be done.
fitting into some YouTuber's thought experiment. While neither Wei Shan or Zana are top tiers, they're both holding their ground in an extremely fast game, meaning that Wave Dash Games actually outdesigned Nintendo, not a small feat. That being said, there's still one game I haven't talked about, which, in my opinion, has had the most success grappling with heavyweight balance.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I think we're good.
Stop.
All Stars
We're good.
Battle. All Stars Battle Royale. Whoa.
But yeah, that video top to bottom is great. Please check it out. Mock Rock TV. I talked to him in DMs. He has some
So
really good
graciously
future
allowed
plans.
us to show off his video. Thank
Yeah.
you.
There's some
Yeah.
there's some It's a well made video, whether you agree or not. It's cool. It's a cool little analysis, and it's cool to see because I think that one thing he does hit really well is that Wei Shan and Zana are very different,
Wait.
and I think it's really cool to think about that.
Hold on, real quick, because I see people in the chat reacting to this. We'll just give it one more second.
This is the hype. All Stars Battle Royale.
Rivals of Aether is
He was actually talking about Rivals. Okay, it was just a joke. So before people start judging him, saying that he's gonna talk
Rivals is an excellent game.
That's
Rivals is an excellent game.
Rivals is great. But
so, and I guess was there something else? I know we were gonna mention real quick the streamers.
yeah, we got a couple streamers seeming to be a little more active recently.
We
Guys.
talked about this a little earlier, but the main ones I think we're going to bring up today are like SSB Magi, also known as Magi, and Teals.
Yeah, it's been okay. We mentioned it earlier. But these last few weeks have been pretty quiet for icons after the community circuit. Not that many, no patches, way less tournaments, and a lot of the more prominent. I mean, can speak personally that like I was a lot less active in my stream because I was just tired. Playing a lot of icons for a long time got a lot of the main players tired.
Some people are taking breaks, which happens in fighting games.
I mean, it's
people
normal.
get
It's just
tired.
the circuit's over. It's off season.
Well, also no ranked
that's
and
it.
everything. So there's
In this time frame, Magi, and Teals, they've stepped up a lot. Teals specifically, and everyone knows Magi. Magi is number 6 on the new PR. She's incredible. I encourage everyone to go follow twitch.tv/SSB Magi for that top level icons gameplay. I also want to talk about the boy on the grind, the boy on the mission. Teals went from like level, whatever the early beginner to grandmaster with Zurong in like a week and a half, all on
The
stream.
grind, dude. That's fiending.
Like
That is
so much. There's so much footage.
putting in the hours.
Yeah.
Like if Teal, and you know what? He's like out here. He's out here with his little camera and like a dark room, wearing glasses in the dark room. He's like wearing shades and he's just playing icons. Teals is a great player.
He plays with sunglasses on in the dark.
It was a joke, but it ended up sticking. He has he doesn't have great lighting in there, so it's kind of dark. But then he also has these sunglasses, and it makes it like this big, like, I'm in. Hacker Man is like playing icons. It's super funny.
That is funny.
And he's good too. These are both great players. So definitely, and that's gonna be twitch.tv/Teals. So Teals with the Z, Tealz.
Yep.
So drop him a follow as well. They're both doing a lot of work, and I'm having a blast watching them.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, with that said, guys, we ran just a hair long this episode.
Just a hair.
Try to cut.
Almost double.
There's still stuff to talk about, but
Yeah.
we're kind of we're pushing almost 2 hours.
Yeah, so we'll cut off a couple minutes for next episode, but real quick shout out to the subs that we got throughout this episode.
Oh, baby.
We had Stridon, Cicero, Jokomo, Soda Drum, also an icon streamer, if maybe not the top elite player, but super entertaining to watch and also still pretty good. And Llama Juice, all dropping subs. So thank you guys so much for showing support for the channel. Seriously,
Thank you
that's
so much.
awesome. We're very,
You know
very
what?
grateful.
And you guys can expect more from us soon. Don't worry. We've got some stuff in the
We're
works.
just getting
Every day we get closer to a state where we can bring you something new.
All I'll say is the show is no longer just called the Combat Lab episode whatever. It's called the Combat Lab podcast episode whatever. So
Oh, baby.
there's some math to do there, right? But
All right.
so you can expect
Wait,
us.
speaking of podcast, we're on Spotify now.
Oh yeah.
Good call.
Good
Thanks for reminding.
Yeah,
We're on
just,
Spotify.
Just like Spotify didn't tell me that we were on it, I forgot to tell you guys. Yeah, check us
I
out.
remembered.
Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play. We're on all of those. So
Cool.
check us out on there. You'll get the VODs there. This VOD will be added to YouTube as well with the rest. We're actually still missing episode 3 on there, but I'll get both uploaded at the same time. So yeah, you'll be able to catch us on all that. Expect us to mostly try to follow along with the Icons release of bi-weekly.
Yep.
But there are no guarantees just because that's life. But we will do our absolute best to stick with the patch updates. So Any closing thoughts today, guys?
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you two for talking with me about Icons Balance for 2
man.
hours.
There is one more thing I forgot to mention.
Oh,
is
right.
that I don't know what you're thinking of.
I know.
It's
I know
probably
what
not
he's
this.
thinking of.
It's what you're thinking of.
Oh, Esports Arena in Oakland. If you live in NorCal, there is a weekly series in Oakland at the Esports Arena. They do Icons, Rivals, and Smash. You should consider going. But what I was going to mention is that with Free For All on, even though doubles isn't officially supported, you can make a custom lobby.
We didn't
And
even
just-
talk about Free For All.
and just pretend to play doubles and remember who your teammate is. But
Yep.
I guess we will have to.
We'll talk about that next
Talk
episode.
more
I guess
about
we'll
Free
talk
For All
about that next time.
Pro
Free For
tip:
All.
if you're gonna do those discount doubles, discuss with everyone in the match to try to line up your skins if you can. It makes it
All right,
much
guys.
easier. But yeah,
Just do left versus right.
yeah, that's fair too. But
Have a great night, everybody.
yeah,
Thank you
Yep.
so much for tuning into the Combat Lab.
Yes.
We'll see y'all next time.
Later.
Bye, everybody.